Late on Friday night, a terrible series of events occurred in Paris, France. A group of terrorists carried out a series of attacks that tragically cost approximately over 120 people their lives. It's still not sure why these attacks were carried out, but it doesn't matter at this current moment. What matters is that our thoughts are with the families of the victims of these events, and that hopefully the culprits will be brought to justice. We unfortunately live in a time where a select few believe that they have the right to claim others' lives as their own. Wherefore, whatever their motives were, their actions were to wreak havoc on innocent people and create a wave of terror not only across France, but worldwide. I initially wondered whether we were going to record an episode this week due to the events that occurred, but I finally decided that in doing so achieves these sick individuals' objectives. If we had stopped recording an episode this week, then we're giving these people exactly what they want. I certainly hope that the global media does not give their coverage to the terrorists themselves, but to those who lost their lives on that night, to remember them for the lives that they had. My thoughts and prayers are to anyone affected directly by these attacks, and know that you're not alone, for all the good people in this world are behind you, and we all mourn with you. Welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast.
You don't have to know history, you don't have to know wrestling, you don't have to know matches.
My belly's just a little big, my hand is just a little big, but brother, I am bad and they know I'm bad.
There is no revolution.
You are truly the future of Lucha Underground.
I got it. How about a little heel turn?
And if they piss somebody, if they tick somebody off here, well then, there goes their career.
Well, don't piss anybody off.
Hello and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast, the wrestling podcast where we review Monday Night Raw and give all of you beautiful people the wrestling news of the week. I am the host of this show, which is now over 100 episodes old. We're getting old, guys. We're getting some grey hairs every now and then. That's how we're rocking it here. I don't do this show on my own. Of course not. I've never done this show on my own. Well, I keep saying that all the time, but I have done a few, but they've not nearly been as good. And he is a man who is a lot like me, especially in this sense, because he doesn't give a rat's ass about the Warcraft movie because we're Guild Wars players. Yeah, it's Matt Marsander.
I guess, yeah. I'm not going to step close anywhere near the Warcraft side of things.
Yeah, the battle lines have been drawn.
That's it.
Oh yeah.
The line in the sand is here.
Yeah. They can come no further. This is our line. Obviously, all joking aside, I mean we actually play Blizzard games and stuff like that, so it'll be interesting.
We play one Blizzard game.
Well, Hearthstone, pretty much. Yeah. That's it. So, but yeah, we're big. I wonder actually how many of our fans even know of Guild Wars, let alone play it, and then they'll have to come to the realization that. Myself anyway is just like a dedicated player of that game. That's my game, Matt. That's what it is right there.
As you just like, Matt, get the Guild Wars 2 expansion. It's like, but Fallout 4.
Yeah, how is Fallout 4? Is it good?
I'm very much enjoying Fallout 4.
I do want to get it myself.
I'm drawing myself away from it to record with you today.
I kind of imagine that even while we're doing this recording, you're just imagining wrestlers in the Fallout environment just to keep yourself and your mind there in the wasteland. Is that how you're doing it?
Yeah, I mean, hell, I'm pretty sure by now most people have seen the Hulk Hogan face creation.
Oh, well, yeah, I think he would fit quite well.
Go for the Commonwealth, brother.
You could say he's in the wrestling wasteland at the moment. No, that isn't the Ascension. Oh, God, I don't even want to get started on that. Matt, we've got a very packed show here for episode 101. 101, Matt. We're 3 digits now. That's just still a little bit crazy. Don't quite know how to digest that information, but still. What is the Twitter handle, Matt, if people would like to get in contact with us on our Twitter handle?
It'd be the Twitter hand of @TalkWrestlePod.
That is the one, right? It is. And while you grace the dominion of the Twitter, yeah, we have launched the Facebook page this week, and we've had loads of great stuff that's been put up on there. A lot of stuff, maybe a few hints into regards of the notes that we're even going to be saying on this show, and some good interaction with the fans there on it as well. So the go ahead and like the Facebook page. It is facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. The link is in the graphics. It's also in the description. You can't miss it. Like the page, and you can interact with us even further. We're putting stuff on there daily, so you can view stuff on there on a daily stuff. In fact, we even put up a few things like a few skits that some people may not have missed. A lot of Eddie Guerrero tributes this week. He is the cover star of our show. So a lot of good stuff going on there. And it's myself and Matt posting stuff on there, so it's awesome, you know. You control the Twitter, but together we are the Facebook champions. That's what we are. Is that right? Are we the tag team champions of Facebook? Is that?
Well, it's sort of like the YouTube champs, and now it's on to be the Facebook champs as well.
Yeah. We're dominating. That's what world domination is the key. Is the plan. So there we are. We do have a big show though for you guys planned up, and you know what's quite ironic is that while it's all awesome and everything going to episode 100, I actually found that one of our most watched videos was episode 51, which was the episode after our big celebration, the 50th one. So I know, who knows what happens here. We've got plenty of stuff to talk about. Got lots of news. Interesting news to speak about this week. We've got fan feedback, a lot of questions from you guys from episode 100. They all get answered here on this show, including a few doozies, may I add on there. We've got an NXT report card. We will be looking at the Hype Brothers, and of course something else that happened over the tag team division in NXT this week. That is quite big news, shall we say. And we also got our Raw review. We're going to be talking about Raw, which took place in Manchester this week. Oh yes. And people who had been following our Facebook account can clearly know which side of Manchester I call my own, shall we say. But
it was quite good that they gave him a notice. It's like they're not the only team here in Manchester. Let's go have a look.
Yeah. But I believe me, I've got plenty of references to that. Don't you worry, Matt. We'll get into that. All right. For everyone involved, Matt, you don't really have a team that you call your own, do you? You're just kind of...
I am not a football person.
You're not really a football person, I see. You're more of a, you know... What sport are you into, damn it? Apart from wrestling. Do you like any other sport?
I guess I go with rugby.
Rugby? Yeah, you're a rugby guy. You watch a bit of rugby every now and then. Which is unfortunate because our team kind of sucks at the moment, so... Yeah. We're the first ever nation to get eliminated in the group stage of our World Cup that we host.
It's embarrassing.
It is. Let's tiptoe away from that. This show is a successful show, and I'd rather keep it away from teams that aren't that successful. Like Manchester United, but we won't get there yet. Okay, we won't get there yet. Okay. Oh, I've got our fans already. They've got steam coming out. Did you just say what I thought you said? Oh, believe me, there's worse coming. There's worse coming. Oh yes, I kind of spoiled everyone there to see what's going on. Now let's get into the news. No more procrastination. You're ready for the news. I'm ready for the news. The fans are ready for the news. One person not particularly ready for the news is Billy Gunn. Because the news this week is he's been fired. Oh, yes.
It's a bit all of a sudden as well.
When the initial reports came out, I wasn't entirely sure, but... I mean, WWE hasn't even made a statement, but there are people, there are promotions out there stating that Billy Gunn has agreed to indie dates with them, which would go under the story that he has been fired. Now, the reports are that he was fired for using performance-enhancing substances for powerlifting he had been doing on the side. You know, he'd been doing competitions and stuff like that.
That's it.
Like a hobby. I think this is quite ironic considering he's fired for a performing-enhancing substance that makes absolutely no difference into the work he does, right? I know he...
As a trainer,
as a trainer. Now, I know, obviously, I understand why WWE fired him, but if there's ever, like, a grey area for this sort of thing, I think this is pretty much it, you know? You know, it's like performance-enhancing substances, but... It's not as if like it's going to help him train other people. It doesn't, he's not on TV. I know it's been ages since he wrestled, in front of a camera, right? So, yeah, he's been fired for that. You could do a lot less and still get fired by WWE. It's an extremely fragile environment, I think is probably the best way to call it. Is that a good way of...
Yeah, I guess fragile's probably the best way to put it, really.
Yeah. I mean, you have to walk around, you need to be careful what you say, what you do, because we're in a very PC environment, and, you know, companies are watching their own back, you know, so... but he's gone. I don't expect this to be the end of the guy. In fact, I think not after too long, he'll probably find his way back once. You know, I don't see this as a particularly big deal. You know, WWE are just covering their bases with doing what they did. But I mean, come on, Mac. This isn't a huge deal. I mean, not many people are really talking about this anyway in regards to.
No, not at all.
No.
Just sort of out of nowhere, just like, yep, shit happened. Like,
Yeah.
Shit does happen.
Yeah, it's obviously it sucks for all the people that he's been doing powerlifting with, that he's been taking this stuff, and I would have expected that that he would have been a little bit more careful, all things considered. But honestly, I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue. I would expect him back, you know, as quick as a year, maybe. You know. And...
To be fair, I'd hate to say it, but it's just sort of like, well, there's always Triple H.
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know whether it's just to be able to sort of like pull some sort of sway and just sort of like, well, he's not competing with us. He's not a competitor.
I tell you
maybe
what, though,
we can swing it.
Yeah, I tell you what, though, one thing that may play into this, you know who Triple H's best buddy is over the course of this year? Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, that's true.
Right? And he's a big powerlifter guy. You know, he's got his own competition. That's where they got the Dana Brooke and everything involved in wrestling. So maybe that part of it plays into it way more than maybe people initially thought. So, you know, the fact that it was that particular thing, you know, maybe they were just covering their bases. But still, I don't think it's too much of a big deal, and I think he will be back at some point. Yeah. He's not like in as much trouble as Hulk Hogan, let's say that, right? Let's just be honest.
Oh, that's it.
So, now, an interesting statistic, Matt, had been brought to my attention over the course of this week.
Okay.
So, obviously, WWE do the England shows at this time of year. It's a yearly thing, annual thing that they do.
Yeah.
So this time last year, they had a show in Manchester. Okay.
And earlier this year, they were in London. Yeah.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that it makes a very good basis for what you can say this year to last year. What's going on, right? What's going on with WWE?
Yep.
What's the difference? What's going on? And I'm not going to go into my own reasons. I'm literally just going to state the facts. WWE are very almost close to 700,000 fans less this year than they were last year.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, that's bad. We all know the reasons why. We've gone over on this show lots and lots about the reasons why Raw has been dropping, and it's just simply because the show hasn't been very good, right? And the fact is that they're lacking a lot of star power. All right, they've got a lot of stars out, the roll-in stuff. Yeah, it couldn't come at a worse time. The one thing, though, that I thought was quite interesting was No DQ put this statistic up on their Twitter. And Road Dogg, funny enough, ironically, Road Dogg, considering Billy Gunn was in the news this week.
Yeah.
Road Dogg fired back and dismissed it as simple hating. People, it's just haters, Matt. It's just haters.
Oh, them damn haters.
Those damn haters. And then I watched a podcast. Listened to a podcast this week of JR with Abyss from TNA. And what I thought was quite funny is that when they're asking about the issues with TNA and the stuff like that, it was pretty much just the same thing. It was like, well, if we didn't have so many haters on social media, then we'd be doing a lot better than we are now. So it's the haters' fault, Matt. It's anyone who hates TNA, it's their fault that they're not doing very well, and it's
goddamn haters.
It's the same for WWE. Now, I've got a bit of a news flash for these people. No one is accountable for... Well, let me try and put this in a different way. That makes it a little bit more understandable. Anything that WWE or TNA succeeds at doing, they can praise themselves for doing so. It's on no one else's shoulders but their own. Okay?
Yeah.
But when they fail, it is exactly the same thing. It's no one else's fault that you're 700,000 fans down, almost 700,000 fans down. And it's no one's fault apart from TNA's, that TNA's in the problem. It's their problem, right? And this whole sort of perception of oh well, it's not really our fault. It's all these people just hating on us, you know. The longer that they think that way, the longer the ratings will continue to tumble.
That's it. I mean, my only other thing is just sort of like, oh, it's all the people that are hating on us. Well, it's all well and good, but if you never sort of took a step back and thought, why are they hating on us?
Yeah. Well, why is this the case? You know what? I just thought it was quite funny. I mean, Road Dogg is part of the management. I'm sure that he's not the only person that thinks this way. It's just haters. That's the only reason that they're coming up with these stats. You know, I'd love for them to come up with... It was actually a did you know that No DQ came up with. It's explaining that stat. And, you know, they may say, oh, well, you know what, it's the Monday Night Football and it's the basketball, it's the sports. That's why we're getting hit in the ratings. There's certainly reasons why, but you shouldn't be using them as excuses. They are your rivaling demographic. You should be stealing the fans away from those sports onto your show.
It's what you should be aiming for.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, oh, we've got a rival with this. How are we going to compete against sort of X or Y market?
Yeah. I thought it was quite funny when they stated that UFC fans were not the demographic that WWE were looking for. I thought that was ridiculous. You should be competing for every demographic you can, especially the way that they do their show now, which is PG. They're trying to reach out to all the audiences, okay? And I think that the UFC fans and stuff are people that would be more inclined to watch wrestling if it were entertaining, and not 3 hours every week. I think it was. Sorry, let me talk. There were some fans that backed Road Dogg up in this conversation, and they said along the lines of, well, a lot of this could be attributed to the rise of streaming services. Streaming has killed the ratings. Now, while they are sort of right to a degree, ratings genuinely are doing this good because people can stream them, they can record it. That would not attribute to this amount of viewers dropping out.
Yeah, I mean the thing is like, oh, streaming's not an wasn't an impossible thing a year ago.
Exactly, right?
But then even like people recording it, the ratings take into account DVRs because it's not like DVRs are a brand new thing either.
Yeah, you know, I thought that was ridiculous. I thought that was absolutely ridiculous that they said that. I thought it was like, so you think in 1 year suddenly a huge outbreak of streaming services and recording devices have happened? No, we had all of this last year.
Yeah,
it's all there last year. So it makes no difference, okay? One of the other things as well is that fans are saying, oh, these are attacks. All the podcasts, all the dirt sheets, they're attacking WWE with all these statements, talking about the ratings as much as they are. They're attacking WWE. They're part of the problem because they're making everything so negative, Matt. They're making everything so negative. I'm going to release a damning fact, a fact that I have said before on this show to anyone who believes that way. The more popular wrestling, and by proxy, WWE as being the largest wrestling company in the world to date, okay? The more popular they are, the more popular we are also, because there's more traffic to those dirt sheets, and there's more traffic to podcasts in general.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All dirt sheets and all fan podcasts, all podcasts wants WWE to be hitting the heights that it was in the Attitude Era. We hope that we're doing it each week because then more people are going to be wanting the scoops, more opinions, more information. We get more viewers. You know?
That's it. Like, oh, here we are talking about something that nobody cares about anymore. How's that going to, how would that get views?
Yeah, exactly, right? I'm under no illusion, guys. If we had started this podcast 100 episodes ago, and we had started episode 1, and it had been at the heights of popularity as the Attitude Era, we would be a lot better off right now in terms of subscriptions. And we're doing pretty okay, right? But we would be doing better.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, they're saying, oh, you know, but you're saying, oh, you're just attacking them. The fact is, we can't simply ignore what is the reality, right? The reality is that the ratings suck, right? We're only speaking what the statistics show in front of us and giving our opinions of why that is the case. We can't overlook it just because it doesn't look good on WWE. We said when they had a rise in subscribers the other week, we said that it was great news for WWE. That would be ecstatic, awesome stuff for them. We outlined some of the reasons why they might be worried going forward, but we didn't refuse to talk about it, you know? So I think this is very silly. Some of these fans are just getting a little bit too fanboyish and saying that, the only people that are responsible for WWE's success is the people running WWE. They're the only people. So, you can't do all these, did you know, we're the longest running episodic, we're fantastic, and it's all because of us, and when something goes wrong, it's everyone else's fault that this is going wrong.
Yeah.
So, I'm actually I was thinking of doing an article on the Facebook page talking about these companies and their lack of responsibility in terms
I
of...
got almost like a lack of conviction.
Yeah. They're unwilling to take the problems that you have on their back and try and fix them. They'd rather just dismiss them as everyone else is making these problems. You're in the entertainment industry. You're there to entertain us. If you don't do so, people won't watch you. That's as black and white as it is. So, there we are. I thought I wanted to bring that up in regards to that as well. Matt, do you like turkeys, by the way?
I'm quite partial to a turkey now and then.
You do like a turkey? I like a turkey.
Yeah.
I'm partial sometimes to turkey sandwiches myself.
That's kind of like the best bits of like after Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, you have some of the stuff left over. Boxing Day, oh yeah, num 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 num, awesome, lovely, I love it. Do you ever tombstone your turkey though?
I can't say I've ever considered it.
You've never done it? It's all the rage. It really is. Oh yeah.
It's like a brand new thing.
It's a brand new thing. It's the going thing. It's like the ice bucket challenge. That's how big it is at the moment. So, this is obviously us referring to The Undertaker appearing on Jimmy Fallon this week.
Thing is, my biggest shock is the fact that Undertaker was on Jimmy Fallon.
I know, right? That was quite... I mean, Taker has made more appearances on television this year than probably the last 5 years combined, right? It's actually his first late-night talk show appearance. That's... I mean, because of the nature of his gimmick, it wouldn't make much sense for him to be on there anyway, but, over and over and over, but still, it's still quite shocking that over his 25 years, Taker's never appeared on these sort of shows, so he made his debut in that sense. How weird that sounds.
25 years, yeah.
Right, yeah. So yeah, Brad Maddox was around. He was dressed as a chicken, and the Undertaker tombstoned him. That was
sort of like, just stood there and just like, meh, drop.
He stared him down and tombstoned him, and that was it. I thought it was funny stuff. I liked it. Fair play, and I'm sure a lot of people just thought it was so bonkers, and but I honestly had no problem with it. You saw some butthurt fans going, "Oh, this is completely they're killing the Undertaker's gimmick." I actually saw that comment. They're killing the Undertaker's gimmick, and I'm like, guys, try not to take yourself so seriously next time, because doesn't really help things. So, have you actually watched it, Matt? Yeah.
I have, unfortunately.
I put it up on the Facebook page.
Yeah, so. I was shocked to see it.
Yeah. But, obviously WWE are having some problems with those ratings, so they're going to send... I mean, Taker seems like their only active star. I mean, calling the Undertaker active even then sounds weird. The fact he's...
I don't know. He's been on Raw quite a lot recently.
Yeah, I'm not arguing it. It just still sounds weird to call the Undertaker as active on the roster at the moment. It's bonkers, right? So
he's probably their biggest active draw.
You reckon? Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. I mean, I was saying because obviously Cena's not around. I immediately thought Cena, but yeah, you're completely right. There's no one else really that they could send out there and would have people would know as a household name than Undertaker, right? So I thought it was cool anyway. And he looks in good shape, by the way, Taker. He looks good.
Oh yeah. He's got Survivor Series ready.
Yeah, he looks ready. He looks like he's been doing a lot of work. I honestly thought after that Hell in a Cell match he would be gone till WrestleMania, but he's been doing a lot of events. I mean, he's been doing live events in Manchester, right? Mm. So that's bonkers in of itself. So that's the end of the news. We get to talk a little bit now about the 10-year anniversary of the passing of Eddie Guerrero. Just the idea of saying 10 years to me is kind of crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. We talked about this actually last year, and I went back and listened to us talking about it. It's one of those things that I remember where I was when I learned that Eddie Guerrero had passed. It's quite a strange thing to think of. And I've always said before that I feel like wrestling would be a better place if Eddie was still here.
Well, it's almost thinking 10 years is like, chances are Eddie, I don't know, he would be an agent or something, but even then, yeah, it'd be like the 5 years since his death would have been a better place for it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, definitely, outright. I don't know whether we should talk about it too much because we did speak about it in great depth at that time. Although it does seem like if there is ever a more poignant time to talk about Eddie Guerrero, and probably now is it. It's funny. Very few people are remembered in a way that Eddie Guerrero is, with so much adoration. I probably look at him in the likes of, like Dusty Rhodes, right? I think Dusty Rhodes will be remembered kind of in the same ilk as Eddie Guerrero, as being one of those guys that we not only enjoyed watching, but we respected, and we kind of liked them as real people, right? We kind of, especially Eddie's. I mean, his story about how he overcame his demons, became world champion. He was
human. Like, we knew that was it. It was like, right, not so much sort of like the invincible superstar. He was the man that overcame addiction and alcohol and things like that.
Yeah.
And as a result, and we went through that with him. It's sort of like, to see him essentially just come through is sort of like when he defeated Lesnar for the title, and sort of sudden, like, he fucking did it.
Oh yeah, it was.
And we were there for him.
I think you've hit the nail. It felt like we were with him on that journey that he had.
Exactly.
Beating that addiction. I mean, like I said, it is a shame that ultimately the addiction is what cost him his life.
Yeah.
That's what's so tragic about it, really, that he beat the addiction, but the wear and tear had already done its job.
But regardless, it would still take him.
Yeah. Which is absolutely awful. And obviously his passing had such a reverberation across wrestling. I do think that if he were around, yes, wrestling would be a better place, but it would be a much different place now.
Yeah.
I think. When I say that, I don't want people to think it would be radically different, but I do think it would be.
I think we'd still sit in a PG era nowadays.
Yeah, some things would just change with the times, but I do think there would be some things that we would look back on involving Eddie, and it would make us smile, right? As ultimately what he did, right? Even when he was a heel, there was some stuff that he did that you were just like, fucking hell, that's just brilliant what he did right there. I still remember the "I'm your papi" and the shirts he used to wear, like, Dominic, I'm your father. And all
it's like, especially recently, like I was listening to like a Jericho podcast, which was Chavo and Malenko. Yeah. And sort of going back on sort of like Chavo, where it's just sort of like, Eddie's my favorite wrestler T-shirt.
Oh really? I one thing that I find was, I tell you what, maybe I'll just talk about it here. There's some wrestlers that are very larger than life. And Eddie was one of those people, but it's one of those people that can be so larger than life they never seem like a realistic character. And it doesn't, like, by no means, I don't want anyone to be insulted when I say this, but when you think of Roddy Piper, right? Roddy Piper, the character, was so far removed from Roddy Piper, the man, that, he didn't feel like he was one of the people, right? His character. So yeah, it was hugely tragic, and it was very heartbreaking when he passed. But when you look at people like Dusty and Eddie, I think the reason why people remember them with such adoration and not more respect or anything along those lines. I'm trying to choose my words, but it felt like they were one of us in a way, right? Especially with Dusty, he was like the everyday worker. Eddie kind of had that part of him, right? He kind of felt like he was a fan of wrestling, right? He felt like if he wasn't there, he would be with us, next to us, cheering the wrestlers on. He felt like that sort of guy. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe, I don't know, but I don't think there's anyone of that generation that is remembered in a very special way than Eddie is, about his career and the things that he did. So I think it's just a testament to not only how good he was, and he was phenomenal, by the way, in the ring. Some people play that down because of how good his character was. Eddie Guerrero could easily rack up 50 5-star matches. Easy. Just No.
Without even thinking about it as well.
Yeah. Just the timeless ones. I mean, you could probably fit the majority of the ones he had with Demon Linko in there, right? It kind of makes itself, right? The
That's
match.
exactly what I was thinking. It's just like ECW when they were sort of just like WCW don't want cruiserweights, WWE don't want cruiserweights, ECW let's show them what the cruiserweights can do.
Yeah, exactly. And he did great. Hell, even with all the stuff that was going on in WCW, he was still a standout star there, right? Like they purposefully didn't give them the chance to become big stars because of their build. You know, the whole vanilla midgets and all this crap.
Oh, that's it.
Right.
So like, oh, you don't look like Lex Luger. Tough.
Yeah. And even after all that thought, people still looked at Eddie like he was a star, like he was someone worth watching. That's because of how good he was.
Yeah.
So, we could talk for hours and hours and hours about how
easily
we thought about Eddie. In fact, we maybe
the fucking lowriders. Fucking lowriders.
The lowriders, right? Batista has a lowrider dedicated to Eddie, right? If you haven't seen it, it's awesome. It's amazing.
Like, was it listening back to that Jericho podcast? The first ever lowrider that Eddie and Chavo came out in, like John Cena bought.
Oh, really?
Once Eddie died, John Cena was like, Chavo, you have it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a classy move.
And I was like, this is the one thing, is like, as much as we hate Cena, he's like genuinely a decent guy.
We always say we hate the Cena character. I think the guy's a stand-up guy.
But yeah, that's it.
I'd love to have a beer with John Cena. Not talk about anything apart. I wouldn't want to talk anything about wrestling or anything along those lines, but just talk to him as John Cena. I would like to have a beer with the guy. So, and yeah, some people can't remove their feelings for John Cena the character to John Cena the man. That's when wrestling fans show themselves as the worst, I think. So
yeah,
there is that. But yeah, I'm sure I feel bad actually thinking of it now because he died 10 years ago. That means if you got people who are 15, 16 who maybe didn't
never knew Eddie.
Yeah, they never like,
even if they
did
recently, like with like Seth did the Frog Splash, and everyone went Eddie, and there's suddenly like there's got to be half the crowd there who don't know.
Yeah, you never experienced it, and it's not so much like I don't feel sorry for Eddie that was the case. Of course not. I feel sorry for them that they didn't get to experience what he was and who he was and all the attributes that he had. And man, he's one of those people that I look back on and I'm like, if there was one person that could get over in today's climate, regardless of all the problems that WWE has at the moment, I'm really sure Eddie Guerrero could do it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really sure.
I mean, it's the one thing I think must be quite proud of, that must make Dean quite proud, like, of being a backstage agent, and it's only just, like, that everyone still appreciates, like, a great friend of his. Yeah. So it's been so long, and he still just sort of thinks back and, like, they still remember he still lives on, sort of thing.
Yeah, he does. He does. I thought Chavo, talking of Chavo, he actually put out a great message when he says that people only die when people forget who they were.
Yeah.
You know, so he's only passed on. He hasn't died. I thought that was a really cool way to look at it. So, kudos to you, Chavo. I thought that was a really good way of doing it. So yeah, hopefully you can think of it in that respect. So yeah, 10 years ago today, Chavo passed away. Like I said, I remember where I was. I was working at a temporary toy shop, and I was doing stock, and just one of the acquaintances I had made there, because it was only a shop that was only for like 2 months or something, and he came
one of those like quick flashing Christmas stores, wasn't it?
Yeah, essentially that. It's that roughly that time of the year, and he just said, because he wasn't that much huge of a wrestling fan, not nearly as much as I was, and he just came in just very nonchalantly. Not bad.
By the way.
Yeah, by the way, did you hear that Eddie Guerrero died? And I was like, what? Like, I didn't believe him. First, I thought he was fucking around with me. And then, obviously, you look, you get home, you check online, and yeah, it's there plain as day, Eddie Guerrero passed away. And it's like it almost felt like it wasn't real for a little while. And one of the saddest things I think about watching the likes of Batista unable to hold in the tears.
That's it. I mean, I saw a video which was just as a reminder that like real men do cry sort of thing, and it was after like a main event match of Triple H and Benoit, and then after the match, like they both embraced in the ring and sort of like had a cry.
Yeah. I think that was then fans were just it wasn't so much mourning at that point. Fans were just kind of accepting that it happened, right?
Yeah.
It was very surreal at that time. Yeah. I think we should move on, because otherwise we could talk for ages and then we'll get
That's it.
We'll get emotional.
You're gonna make me want to break out my my Eddie DVD.
You have an Eddie DVD?
I have an Eddie DVD. I have the Eddie Guerrero story DVD.
Well, you might have to wait for that shit until I get over there and we can watch. That may have to be the case.
That's it.
By the way, Matt, over the course of this week, our shirts are arriving.
Ooh,
yeah.
new shirt.
Ooh.
Like another one for the collection of various wrestling-related T-shirts.
I know, but this one is our own.
It's ours.
And personalised. Oh yes. People may not know what we're talking about. I amended the design. Oh yeah. Anyway, let's get into our fan feedback. We've had plenty to talk about at the start of the show. We actually have a big packed show. We're going to go well over 2 hours, I think, here. Everyone loved our inspirational intro last week. I actually feel a little bit sorry for turning it into a New Day inspired joke at the end, but
hey, I enjoyed that bit.
That was awesome. I thought it was brilliant. We had loads of fun, by the way, doing all that. In fact, I put up a collection of all the sponsor parodies that we did up on the channel, so you can go view that in your viewing pleasure. Alex from Wrestling Boom answered a Q&A session on his own blog this week, including a question from yours truly, where I asked whether or not he believes that NXT is a positive or negative impact on the indie wrestling community and why. And he answered that question. I'm going to put a link to that description for you guys to check out. Some interesting questions and answers. We obviously like to give the love to some of our fans that do their own wrestling related stuff, and Alex gave us some great response last week in regards to that intro and everything. So I'm putting that in the description. Go check it out. You can see the response there and some other interesting questions there for you guys as well. Crimson Omega sells us on a brand new product called, are you ready, Matt? It's called The Big Show. Do you know what this thing does, by the way?
I was going to say, does it completely ruin momentum?
It does. You've obviously had The Big Show before. You've clearly had it. It removes momentum. It removes excitement. It brings please retire chants and reduces fan interaction by 35%. I mean, it's clearly a revolutionary new product. This is top of the line shit. Okay. I mean, literal shit. So, yeah. He's a giant, Matt. He keeps telling us he's a giant. Did you know that?
I'm pretty sure I've come across such things being said.
Yeah. Okay. Well, every now and then I forget, and then he tells me again, so it's all good there, because I'm dumb as a wrestling man. So, there is that. MC Schwabo, I'm sorry if I've completely mutilated that name. They said that they just found us. Good work. Although they didn't agree with a few points on the podcast last week. The reason I brought this up is just to remind everyone, that's completely fine. We're a fan opinion show. We certainly don't expect everyone to agree with us. In fact, some of the best questions we've actually had on the show have been some of the fans questioning our views and making very good, well-rounded counters to those statements.
Well, that was one thing I actually read sort of like that comment. I was just sort of like, but I disagree. Why? But we discuss things here.
Yeah, tell us what. Yeah, we would love to know what you didn't disagree with, and give us thoughts on that. That's part of the cool things that we have on the show. Let us know what you don't like, and it's not as if we're gonna argue. It's just like, okay, we understand, fair play. But if not, we'll give our rebuttal and we'll give our thoughts on that. So, like I said, some of my favourite questions on the show are rebuttals to things that we've said, and it has like their own view and a very good outlook on it in regards to that. So. We love those questions, so keep them up. But yeah, certainly. We actually have a really good fan base. We have fan bases that our fan base here sometimes don't agree with everything that we say, but they don't hate on us for saying them, which is quite easy for any sort of fan base to do, in general. They understand that this is an opinion show, we give our opinions. Not everyone's going to share it, right? But everyone has the right to give their opinion. So it's not so much that I wanted to bring that up in regards to this particular thing. I just want to bring it up every now and then. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Mr. Jordan says Seth Rollins is his dad. So I wonder if he was born with a blonde streak in his hair. If that's the case, do you think so?
I guess I kind of have to.
Did he Phoenix splash out of the vaginal canal? Did that happen?
Just dived out. Knee first.
When his head came out, did he just shout out, "I am the future," or something along those lines, or I didn't sell out, I bought in to this
to this life.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
This existence.
Exactly. Something along those lines. Kyler's 2000 says that he was actually at the Dublin show where Rollins was injured and was surprised how bad the injury was considering how well he managed to do the rest of the match. Yeah, I was actually quite shocked he even did the pedigree to finish that match. I mean...
That's it. I'm like, surely they'd have just gone for that as, like, the finish.
Yeah.
But just carried on. Like, because I saw the video of when he flipped over for the powerbomb. And then I saw the other video. I was like, and this is how it finished. What? Like, fair play.
Yeah, a torn ACL, MCL, and medial meniscus is no joke. He must have been in excruciating pain to be able to do that. And maybe it was not that great that he should have just done a roll up or something, because that may have damaged him going forward. But we don't know. But that's the thing, isn't it? All wrestlers are built with this sort of, they're told in their training, you finish. Yeah, you finish. Austin did it with a broken fucking neck. It was like the worst roll-up in the history of wrestling where he couldn't even use his hands, right? It was like the worst, ugliest thing. But that's why wrestlers in general get an extra little bit of respect for me, because, to be honest, anyone else doing that's just bonkers. That's just crazy, ACL, MCL, medial meniscus, fucking hell.
That's essentially the whole damn knee.
Yeah, the whole knee.
The only thing short of kneecap.
Yeah, like, what's ironic about that is that he essentially did further up his leg what I did to my ankle. It's and believe me, well, actually mine was a little bit worse because my bones actually broke, but it's not a competition, and it's certainly not exactly the right thing.
Who broke it more?
I am the future of broken bones. Oh yes. Well, not really. I'd rather not be, to be honest, but there you go. Zio Cage educates me on how to say his name. I've been saying it Zio Cage, and I've been doing it horrendously wrong. So it's Zio Cage, like Johnny Cage. I don't know why I now expect, like, whenever I think of you, Zio Cage, all I can think of is, like, Vacant with, like, Johnny Cage glasses on. I don't know why.
Just Cage tattooed across the stomach.
Vacant is the world champion, by the way, so there is something.
That's very true.
His question is actually very, very good. I actually enjoyed this one. He asks whether the World Title Tournament that's going on right now would have been better as an 8-man round-robin tournament with 2 blocks of 4. So for people that maybe don't understand that what that is, for our more English-based fans, it's almost like the Champions League, the World Cup, that you get points for victories, sometimes you get points for draws, and whoever has the most points out of that, going out of it, then they go into brackets, and then
I think it's very similar, sort of like TNA's almost Bound for Glory sort of tournament, because they get points for. No, I mean, not that WWE should sort of like rob from TNA, but I quite liked the fact that they had 10 points for a win, 7 points win through submission.
I don't like that idea.
I quite liked it. I think that's one thing TNA actually did pretty well.
That's like a submission is less off than a pinfall victory. That just seems very odd to me.
I can't remember. I don't remember the last time I saw. I just remember there being a scoreboard, and most of the time Joe was on top.
Yeah. His other question as well is that in terms of storyline, did you think that there was a lot of people that were put in there that didn't look like they deserved it, and if there was anyone else that we would have preferred to go in? Well, I'll answer the first one first of all. My thoughts are WWE most likely did their usual tournament brackets because they thought that having a round-robin style thing would have been too complicated for their fans. That's probably the way they thought.
I can agree, but I reckon it's probably because they only had 2 weeks.
That, and this is just their usual thing anyway, right? They've never done, well, as far as I know anyway, in the norm, they don't normally do these.
They don't round-robin it. Yeah, no, I know.
But
I think a lot of it is just berries down to it's like, oh shit, we've got 2 weeks to try and come up with something.
Yeah.
tournament. Fuck it, we can drag it out.
Yeah, that's it. And I've got no problems with the tournament the way it is. I do think, though, I will say that I would have liked it to be round robin, because there's a lot of opportunity there that you can make with some good creativity now, some very interesting moments in that. So you could have some people that, that they've lost one, drawn one, and then they're in a clutch situation where they have to beat someone that they maybe never beat before to actually advance in the competition.
Yeah,
so it creates drama.
You get some like good stories going out of it as well.
You could have a guy that's lost 2 matches and is actually already knocked out of contention. So with his 3rd match, he's against like a...
just hell for leather or something.
Well, no, not even that, right? He could be trying to get himself disqualified, but the other guy needs the victory, so he's trying to stop him from getting DQ'd, along those lines or anything like that. Or something along those lines, right? He's trying to do something that interrupts the other guy because the guy's already out of contention.
Just to screw him up.
Yeah, just to screw around with him. You could have someone gets injured in their first match and has to fight through. There's just tons of storyline opportunities that you could do with that style of tournament. But WWE will probably look at it like our fans are too idiotic to understand what's going on. We're not going to do it. And it would have required more work and more creativity from them. And we all know how that... I don't think WWE would be able to put
the not so creative.
Exactly, right? I don't think they would have been able to do it. So... But you actually look at that style, that means you've got every single person at the very least gets 3 matches. So you've pretty much got your next couple of weeks done. You can do it over SmackDown as well if you want.
I mean, we'll probably talk about it later on, but I think I'm quite shocked so far with how this tournament system's been going.
Or who's been winning and losing.
The qualifier, I've been really shocked by it.
Okay, well, obviously we'll go over that over Raw and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we'll give a thought of it there. Now,
to be fair, I mean, most of it's been SmackDown results.
Oh, I didn't even watch SmackDown. I don't even know what the SmackDown results. You can tell me then once we get there. So
yeah.
Now the other part. So yeah, part of my notes this week is actually about funny that Titus O'Neil of all people was involved in the World Championship tournament, and it's like, really, like. Titus O'Neil, by the way, they've barely won a match as a tag team, let alone as a singles for God knows how long. And the guy, come on, it's Titus O'Neil. Let's just be honest. He should be nowhere near the Intercontinental Championship, let alone the world title.
Oh, come on. We're talking about Kalisto here as well.
Yeah, I mean, even then, yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, at least Kalisto's been winning matches, but you know what I mean? I thought it was quite odd, right? That was the case. But the thing is, when your other question is who else would you prefer to go in, there really is no one else. That's kind of their problem.
I mean, it was difficult. I mean, you've got, what was it? Kalisto, Titus, and Breeze.
Yeah.
And I feel as a result, they've, like, really rushed, like, Breeze's, like, in-ring debut. Just out of nowhere. It's sort of like he's been, like, screwing over Ziggler, like, so much. And his in-ring debut is against Ambrose? Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, it's what I thought was another indicator of why maybe they didn't have people that, genuine contenders that people maybe would have accepted a bit more, is that you've got Taker and Kane against the Wyatt family. That's 6 possible people that you could probably have had from them.
Yeah, that's thrown out.
Yeah. Maybe not Rowan, but still, that's 5 people. That's that's a good.
Well, you say maybe not Rowan, but it is sort of currently like a 2v4 situation with the Wyatts and the Brothers of Destruction.
Yeah, but I was saying if they were to put them in the world title tournament, then Rowan would probably be looked at like he's not a world title contender. Well, people would accept Strowman, Wyatt, Harper as being people that would get at least a chance, and obviously Kane and Undertaker, you'd accept them, right? So that's like 5 people then, and people may argue whatever. We'll just say 5 people for the sake of conversation that are out of that tournament because they're in a rivalry with each other. So, and then just in general, there's no one. Look at all the stars that are out that could have been in it. You've got Cena's gone, you've got Orton's gone, Rollins is gone. That's the reason why the tournament happened. Like I said, you've got the other rivalry. Lesnar's out, and there is no way in holy hell WWE's going to fork out all that money for him to have 4 matches in this tournament. It ain't happening, right?
Yeah. Well, because then it also, like, to bring him in to sort of, like, run in the tournament, like, if they were going to run him in the tournament, he'd have to win. So sort of like, we need to pay out more to get him into this tournament, and then guess what? We'd have to pay him more because then he's champion again.
Well, only that, it's like, because you're not going to have all those matches in one go, then that way you have to keep paying him to arrive at different cities. That's a lot of money. They're obviously not going to pay that much for Lesnar, so... Yeah, and as you say there, Matt, realistically, unless they're going to do the screw job on him, which I would think would be really silly because they've already done it, really. I think, they're not going to go with Lesnar for a little while. But, I think WWE found themselves in a situation where they're filling out these brackets, they were looking around their locker room and they're like, so this is what we've got.
Shit.
Yeah. And then they had to name.
What the hell are we going to do? We're going to chuck out Ziggler? No.
Well, Ziggler was already in it, so like...
Not Ziggler, fucking Zack Ryder.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Like, people like Ryder or just like the little people. It's like, all of a sudden it's like, shit, fetch that one-man band guy.
Yeah, Heath Slater.
Fetch Slater.
Jeez.
We haven't seen him in a while.
They weren't too far away from having to go to those people. They really were, but still.
I got surprised Mark Henry wasn't called upon.
Yeah, actually, to talk about that, he probably, because he's Jobber Henry, isn't he now? People would buy Titus O'Neil over Mark Henry nowadays. That's kind of funny how Mark Henry's been. By the way, did you know he got pinned like the other week by like some wandering dog that just sat down on the edge of the road?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he got pinned.
That's crazy.
To be honest, the dog seemed quite happy, but obviously Mark Henry not too happy about that. He's getting pinned by everyone, to be honest, but still. Moving on from that, I did think that was a good question. I did like that one from Zio Cage. There you go. I've got it right.
Now that you know.
Now that I know that I've been educated. By the way, if I'm pronouncing people's names wrong, just feel free to. You're making me feel stupid if I don't know, and I've been saying it for ages.
That's it. There's no harm in suggesting the right way.
Exactly. That's it. BX Girl agrees with us about the PWI list, but does bring up the fact that it's a kayfabe list. In regards to Sasha Banks being put as number 3, Paige was put above her, and then it was Nikki Bella. So, yeah, there is that. I do get what you're saying here. Part of our, maybe to elaborate on what we said last week, that's kind of the reason why the list itself died along with kayfabe itself. When kayfabe died, that list lost a lot of impact in of its own. But I think even then it's ridiculous because you look at Nikki Bella and the lack of title matches that she had and the amount of times that she won by heel means. So even looking at it in a kayfabe sense, it doesn't really work out even then. At least Sasha Banks as a heel won some of her matches clean and very impressive matches.
That's it. I mean, like, this is the one thing I really hate is, like, to talk about, like, how Sasha Banks sort of won clean as a heel. It's sort of like, it's a real shame with Becky Lynch because, like, Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks was an awesome match at NXT. And I was like, nah, Becky can't go. Becky can fucking go.
Yeah, she can go. She can definitely go. We know. We've seen it, right? But still, I thought, all I could think of when this came up was, in terms of looking at it in a kayfabe sense, was all the amount of times that Brie Bella expelled the tissue from her tits because Twin Magic didn't work and she got pinned.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm not Nikki.
Yeah.
Look, tattoos. Fake tits.
I was like,
well, fake tits is a given anyway.
That's the only reason. Obviously, I understand, and I to be honest, we may not ever bring up the PWI list ever again because just of its nature and how irrelevant it is. But that was our thoughts going into it, just to elaborate a little bit more on that. Kate St. Dennis asks, "What would we think would be the best and worst wrestler to have as a neighbor?" Oh yes,
Austin.
Huh?
Austin would probably be worse.
The worst as a neighbor?
I don't know.
I've got the best one. Easy.
Okay.
Easy. Do you want to hear it?
Go on.
Mick Foley.
As the best?
As the best. And I've got good reasons for this. Because one, obviously I'd love to fucking talk to him every single day.
Yeah.
He'll pretty much become like a third member of this podcast.
Pop round for coffee sort of thing. It'd be great.
And he strikes me as a guy who would love to talk to you for hours. So I'm one of those guys who likes to listen to hours and talk back. I can have a good back and forth with people, right? And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing, Matt. What's the one other thing that sometimes you might call up your neighbours to give you a hand with? If you're good buddy with them, right? Is to help around the house, sometimes with like DIY stuff. A man who has put his body through chairs, tacks, tables, and tons of weapons has got to be a good guy with DIY, right? He's got to know his shit.
So yeah.
So yeah, if you ever need someone, oh come on, Mick, I'm just putting up this wardrobe. The wife's on my back. Do you mind giving me a hand? We could talk some stuff. But yeah, I've got. I know everything about tables and all this sort of stuff. Awesome, I'll come and do it. So clearly, you must know.
Tables? What sort of table? I've been through many.
Yeah, exactly. I can tell you exactly what table you need to make sure that a human body can't go through it because he knows.
That's it.
So, yeah, that's it.
I don't know. I reckon probably Austin would be a worse, just in case. I don't know. Like, I'm probably just thinking as a guy who enjoys drink as a neighbor, but I wouldn't think he'd be a large party animal. I don't know. Maybe Zack Ryder. I don't want to wake up every morning listening to boy bands.
Oh yeah, that would be pretty bad. I thought maybe the Boogeyman might be a bit bad. He might be,
It'd be great for Halloween.
It would be great for Halloween, but for the rest of the year, maybe not so much. Maybe there's that. Another one I thought, The Miz, because he strikes me as a guy who would make an active effort to get to know you, and he strikes me as someone that I would love to punch. Like,
okay,
not even his character on TV, just him. I think I would like to punch him. So there is that. You'll probably lay me out because, let's be honest, right? For as annoying as he is, he's a built guy, right? You can see it, right? So I probably would get laid out. But to be honest, I wouldn't care. I would still really enjoy punching him in the face because he's that annoying. So,
oh yeah,
there is that. Other people who would be the worst? Maybe Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan probably wouldn't be that good.
No, with all the racial slurs. I'd probably be hearing it through the walls as well.
I don't know. It's kind of an interesting topic to try and discuss.
I've got it, Matt. I've got it.
What, as best or worst?
Worst.
Okay, worst of all time.
The Disco Inferno.
Oh!
Because he would be discoing all the way throughout the night, and you'd try and tell that fucker to stop, and suddenly you'd have to get into a match with him to stop him. And I'm not physically capable, so...
I don't know. Or maybe, the Hurricane. I think Hurricane might be a bit useful. It's like, you want to be my next superhero in training? I don't want to be a shit. My superhero in training.
Yeah, but wouldn't he just be the mild-mannered version of himself while he's at home?
Maybe.
So there is that.
It's a tough one.
The possibilities that Kane has put upon us here. That's look, Kane might. I think Kane the person will be a great enabler because he'd probably help you do all your financials for you. So you'll probably be all right. And plus he's big, so if you ever need any help, just getting like, oh, by the way, mate,
just move. Just need a quick hand moving this if you don't mind. Help? I'll do it for you because I can.
Yeah, because he's fucking hench. Yeah, he's like. So yeah, there's some of our thoughts anyway. I think the Disco Inferno would probably annoy the fuck out of me. So there is that. Yeah, Scott Steiner, he would be a fucking awful neighbour. Oh my good God, Scott Steiner.
No thanks.
Oh goodness me. So yeah, there's a few good ones there. In fact, I would like our fans to answer that question. That's a brilliant question. That's awesome.
That's it.
All right, Matt, are you ready for our NXT report card?
I am, yes.
Well, first of all, I've got to tell people, if you want to leave any questions, you can do so on the comment section below, on the Twitter handle, on our Facebook now, or you can even send us an email. All those links are in the description below. You can do all of that lovely stuff. And we have answered every question we've been asked on this show so far. Well, I think we missed one or two just because of mistakes, but in general we try and answer them
without repeating ourselves.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we end up repeating ourselves. So we do. One of the things we love is answering fan questions. So, and so far, even though these sections have been getting longer and longer, so far we haven't got to a point yet where we're going to be like, now we have to be selective. So we're going to keep trying to go as long as we can. So we're on to our NXT report card now. And we're going to be talking about the Hype Brothers this week. We're going to be talking about their interactions here on the show. They had a match this week. Did you catch NXT this week, Matt?
I did, yeah.
You did. So you caught the match.
That's kind of why I wanted to talk about the Hype Brothers, really.
Yeah. This is your pick this week, so you know what? I'll let you take it away.
Something's missing. Something's wrong. I don't know what it is. There's something... I don't know. I think it's probably because I wasn't a major fan of Mojo Rawley's Stay Hyped anyway.
Mm.
And now it's sort of like, hey, let's chuck Zack Ryder in there, and that's extra hype. It's like, yeah, but doesn't necessarily mean a good thing.
Even though it kind of looks like Zack Ryder's kind of he's not nearly as hype, shall we say, as Mojo Rawley.
There's Mojo, yeah. He's sort of definitely struggling with that. It's sort of like he's just the bro in Hype Bros.
Yeah. One of the things they're going to be playing off with these guys is that with Breaking Ground, they're going to be playing off the fact that, it's kind of unfair for Mojo having the fact that his tag team partner gets called up occasionally for jobbing duty on the main roster and superstars and all that garbage. So it's kind of hard for these guys to get a constant long spread of matches going. But yeah, I would agree with you. I will say though, I will give it to Rawley. Right, one of the things that he does is that every now and then, if there's a crowd that are a little bit dead and they're getting a little bit worn out, let's say from a long taping, then maybe he can get them going up a little bit. He can change, with the music and the entrance and everyone getting. Although it was more Bailey kind of getting the responses, but because he's so excited and all that lot, sometimes it rubs off. The thing is that I find sometimes, and this will definitely happen on the main roster, where he's so hype and everyone else isn't really that interested, that it becomes a little bit cringeworthy. I don't know. Does that come off to you sometimes?
Yeah, I guess so. It's just, I don't know. Like I said, I kind of just struggle with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it might just be his terrible football tape or whatever it is.
On his eyes, yeah.
Yeah.
God. Yeah. He's one of those guys, I think, that he's going full out and he's going 100% into this, and fair play, but it's one of those things where it's just like it's never going to work on the main roster. It's just not. Like, he's going to do it on one of these crowds that are completely dead, and it's going to come off as it like Vince is going to hate it. Like, you can tell he's going to look at him and be like, what? Like,
the hype? What?
Yeah, like no one's hyped except for you. Yeah. And he can be put in so many awkward like segments and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think they can get stuff done in the ring. though. I think in NXT it works at least because the crowd obviously they're already a little bit hyped anyway, just walking into the building. So I'm sure they'll be fine. But even then, I think fans like that maybe it'd be very easy. Here's a question for you, Matt. Do you think that fans would have turned on Mojo Rawley if he was on the show every week? I think maybe they would have a little bit.
Yeah, I reckon they'd lose. I don't know if I want to say lose faith in him.
Patience.
But just be like, patience, probably.
He probably
the best way to put it.
He probably wears down a crowd a lot, He asks a lot, right? But there we are.
Just all of a sudden, just like, hype! Hype! It's like, what? Hype! It's like, whoa, calm the fuck down.
But that's one of the things I think is weird for Rawley, and this is not so much because, Ryder's in a position he's not going to be out of that position. Like he's kind of got a bit of a thing going where he's not really at risk of being. Well, he is at risk of being fired, but he's one of those people that WWE always look on to do the job or just do superstars tapings or something like that, right? So he's at the very least useful for them. Mojo, if he wasn't doing this. I mean, he wasn't even being used before the Hype Brothers existed, right? So,
oh no, that's it.
It comes to a situation where if he's not with Ryder, then really he's got nothing going for the guy. Because him being the single guy on his own, getting all hype and doing all that, it really wasn't working out that well for him. Let's be honest. So
no, that's it. I think it's probably actually by adding Zack Ryder, it's actually added to it.
You reckon?
I think somehow Ryder, like I was about to say, somehow Ryder's over, but we know Ryder's over. He's great. We will always woo for Ryder, even if we know he'll never win a title.
There's space on the gutted tag division at the moment. No, well, it's not even gutted. I think the tag division is doing fairly well, but there was space for them when they first started coming up in the tag division. There's no space for Rawley on the singles scene in NXT. There's just
not at all.
He's one of the bottom on the rung of the ladder, right? So he's one of the people that you would expect Bull Dempsey to be beating. It's kind of along those lines. So, what's your grade for these guys? Obviously, it's not going to be too high. D. Wow.
D minus.
Whoa.
No. D plus C minus.
Okay.
They're solid. Well,
I went C plus.
I think it's just the gimmick. They're good. Ryder's obviously better than Rawley, but it's just I'm not buying the gimmick.
Yeah.
I was just hoping, if unfortunately with Big Cass injured, when they were like, oh yeah, we found you, Bailey's like, I've got a tag team, and I was hoping it would just be Enzo and Cass.
Even though they got demolished by...
No, I know, by Dash and Dawson. Or even if it was just it's Jordan and Gable.
Oh,
I definitely prefer Jordan and Gable.
Yeah.
But it's very bottom on my choice of a tag team.
Yeah.
Is Hype Bros.
Next week, Matt, is Gable and Jordan against the Ascension. That should be interesting.
Do you know the one thing I'm fearing?
Go on.
Right. The Ascension of old. NXT Ascension.
Mm.
Before they came up to the main roster, were dominating, and then they came back, and they were awful.
Yeah.
They came back for the Dusty Challenge. They lost in the first round.
Yeah. They're awful. They're second.
Who was it? Who did they get beat by?
I think it was Balor and Joe, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was them. Maybe.
No, I don't think it was Balor and Joe.
They lost anyway.
Yeah, and not in like a battle.
Oh.
They lost.
I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Very easily got beat.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought...
I'm hoping when the Ascension come up and go, we accept Jordan and Gable's challenge, they're like, we are the fucking Ascension. Not...
I don't know. They're still going to be losing. Like, they ain't...
I know.
So there's only so much you could do. One of the things that I thought, though, is, like, horrendous. I thought their promo, again, was just fucking horrific. Their promo on NXT this week.
Oh, I know.
Oh, God, it's so bad. And then when you got, like, on the flip side, you got Gable and Jordan, every time they got a mic in front of them, man, they're just gold. It absolutely 100% gold. So yeah, there are grades for the Hype Brothers anyway. But next week we're just looking forward to seeing our favourite tag team on any WWE show at the moment, which is Gable and Jordan.
Do you know what the thing is? For me, it currently stands as probably Gable and Jordan, closely followed by the Usos.
Yeah. But we're going to be talking a little bit more about Gable and Jordan after what we talk about next, which is we have new NXT Tag Team Champions.
We do.
The curse of being a face tag champion strikes again. The Lucha Dragons had the same fate where they lost it on a random NXT show to Blake and Murphy. If you remember, that's what started their very lengthy title run, Blake and Murphy. Now, I see Dash and Dawson, Matt, you may be shocked at this, being the perfect team to hold the belts. That's right. I really do. But for one reason, and one reason only. To lose them to Chad Gable and Jason Jordan. That's their only role. That's the only thing they need to do.
Don't say that. I like Dash and Dawson.
They're one of those teams that like they winning the belts to gain credibility because people didn't think of them with much credibility to begin with. That's really what it is.
I still like Dash and Dawson. They remind me of a good old school tag team.
Yeah, and I like them a lot more than I liked Blake and Murphy in this position. Like they're better in that position than Blake and Murphy were.
Yeah,
easy.
Very true.
I don't know. I just don't like the idea that these guys have been given the belts, and the belts are supposed to try and give them some credibility. I don't know. I mean, obviously, Matt, I fully believe that they've been given the belts simply to lose them to Gable and Jordan down the line. Hopefully at London. Can you imagine the pop if Gable and Jordan win the tag titles in London?
Well, to be fair, I don't think it'd be so much in London. I just think it'd pop anywhere.
Now, it'll be obviously quite soon. I mean, we're only a month away. There's only 4 NXT shows until London itself. So it would be...
Oh, I can't wait.
I know, it's going to be amazing.
It actually feels... I don't know how. It feels further away than it actually is.
And I tell you what, though, it's going to creep up a lot quicker than most people, than we understand. Like, literally, like it'll be here before we know it. So... if they're going to build up a thing here, I mean, obviously they are building up Gable and Jordan. They've got to have a tag team match at the show, I'd imagine. Even though they didn't even do one on the last event.
They haven't declared anything.
I
mean, it currently stands of NXT title, Asuka, Emma, Cruz, Corbin. That's currently the card for NXT London.
I mean, we thought Bliss and Bayley would be happening on that show, but guess what? I mean, that's leading into what we're talking about next. That's happening next week. That title match is happening, like, literally next show.
I was about to say for free, but of course for free. It's only, well...
But it's just on...
It's not for free. It's for $9.99.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually very shocked that so close to London they're choosing to have this match, because this match has been built up for actually quite a while. Now, of course, here is the thing. We could have a situation where the match doesn't have a conclusive finish. So then they have to build up to the match at London as being the proper match that will have its proper ending, right? That will have it'll be the proper match that these two women were supposed to have, along those lines. And then maybe Blake and Murphy get involved, and then at the London show they're banned, so it allows these two women to go out there and show what they can really do. Or I don't think they'll do that. I think they're looking more along the lines they want Nia Jax against Bayley, because they teased that on this show as well. So they could go either way here. I actually don't know where they're going to go. I think it's more likely that they will. What do you think, Matt? What do you think we're going to get?
I'm hoping for your one rather than the Nia Jax solution, because I don't think Nia Jax is nearly ready for like title matches. Other than the fact that she's just like, oh yeah, she's like got heritage and that. Where it's like, no, but she's not ready.
Yeah, I would have given Bliss her chance, really. This is not the only time that she's had a random title match. Just she had one against Sasha Banks when she was face, so she hasn't ever had that chance to really show herself off to the crowd.
And the fact that this time she's actually in a proper program, rather than just sort of like out of nowhere. It's like, I'm gonna put my title on the line, and here out comes Alexa Bliss. Now it's like, I think you're shit. I think I'm the better champion, and I'm gonna prove it to you.
Yeah, they've had a lengthy build-up as well.
Yeah.
I would be quite sad if they just go, okay, you know what, we're not going to give Bliss the match. We're going to go with Nia Jax. And I think that would be a misstep.
How about that for a middle finger?
Yeah. I mean, if I were Bliss, I would think they'd just give me a shot, right? To bring it, to establish myself as a top person, and to have that moment that countless other women have had on these big shows before me. So I don't know. It's one of those things. I don't know where they're going with it. We're going to find out, obviously, next week. I hope they do that. I hope they do it where the guys get involved for whatever reason. It isn't a conclusive finish, and you don't get to see much of the match, because I don't want them to do a lot of the match, because we're supposed to see it, fresh at the big event. And then it builds up to, like, everyone is banned from ringside. These two women are going to do it between themselves, and that's it. So hopefully that's where they go. But they definitely were teasing it. I'm not the only person here. They were teasing that. Well, it looks like Eva Marie told Nia Jax to go do it, so it seems like Eva Marie's getting involved in the title picture. I'm sure that will make a few people upset, but maybe they want to do it. Maybe they want to have nuclear meltdown heat in London by having Eva Marie beat Bayley for the championship with Nia Jax.
Oh, God forbid anything like that happens.
Oh,
I would get out of my seat and leave.
There would be a riot. They really would.
Like, main event, I'm out.
Yeah. They act
as much as I'd want to see, like, obviously Joe and Balor. I'd be like, nope, done.
Yeah, it literally, like, the arena would not be able to hold to the level of heat that would create. It would be nuclear. It really would. And it's kind of, some people might say, well, she's a heel, so obviously that's what I want to go for. And part of me is like, yeah, but there's some people that would just give up on NXT in its entirety. Like, it's that bad. Like, people just give up on the show. So that's what they're dealing with there. Is there anything else you want to cover with NXT before we go on to Raw?
No.
I
had a sudden moment where I was like, was there any, like, I was like, I swear I had something, but I can't remember what it was. It might just be mixed in with my hate for JBL.
Okay. Well, we're going to go into JBL this week anyway.
That's it.
So the Raw review. Raw is in... they're in Liverpool this week, were they not? No, they're in Manchester, sorry. I'm getting that wrong. They were in Liverpool, I think, last year, or they're in Liverpool in another show, not too sure, but Manchester anyway. They're doing the end-of-year UK rounds. This wasn't a live show, as the usual with the taped... with England, obviously, they tape it and they make some edits. We attended a Raw in the O2 earlier on this year. You can go back and look at it. We called it Raw as LTW. I can't remember what episode number it is. But we said back then they made the decision to make a few small edits. So WWE obviously chose to do that in the meantime. So they may have done it on this show. Don't know. The one big thing that we said before is that there was massive chants against the Big Show, calling him a fat bastard as he spent 5 minutes trying to climb off a taxi, and they cut all of that.
And it was golden.
Yeah. And you knew they cut it, by the way, because it wasn't as if they went to commercial break and then afterwards. It wasn't like they cut it. They actually cut the footage, because literally, if you were to watch it back, he chokeslams Roman Reigns onto the cab, and literally 2 seconds later he's off the cab. Where it actually took like a good minute for him to get off of it. So.
And the whole time we're not very generous with him.
Yeah, the crowd wasn't very gentlemanly, shall we say. So there is that. The show starts off with Triple H being in the ring in record time. He's already there. Can't beat 0 seconds, Matt. You can't beat it. He takes a moment to acknowledge Seth Rollins and explains that obviously he blew out his knee in Dublin and is being stripped of the world title. He says it creates an interesting opportunity, not the unique opportunities that Dario Cueto likes to create on his own show, but still an interesting opportunity. Triple H asks Roman Reigns to come out and explains, yes, it does seem quite unfair for Roman to go right back to the end of the line, but he says it could be different. The tournament could simply just be a chance to see who gets to face Roman Reigns, as he would be already the world champion at that point. All he has to do is become Triple H's guy.
Cue the wolf whistles. That's one thing I love.
Yeah.
It's like, as long as you're my guy, and suddenly everyone's like, way.
So Triple H says he strongly considered Roman to be the future instead of Rollins. He was scouting the Shield when fighting them with Evolution. And here I thought Triple H was mentally spent trying to figure out why Batista wore blue that one show, but obviously not.
Hey, don't you dare question Blue Tista.
Blue Tista, he is Blue Tista. So he basically offers him the chance of becoming champion right there and then. He even puts the title on his shoulder, tells him, well, this will set up your wife and your daughter for life. You don't want the words, everyone liked you on your tombstone. You're going to want a monument, and you can only have that by being the champion. And then Reigns shoves it back in his face. I thought, by the way, Triple H here was awesome in this opening segment. He was almost like devil's advocate style, like very much teasing him, draping the title over him, talking about his wife and his daughter, setting them up, and all he has to do is just come over to the dark side. Just do it. So it's okay. Don't worry about it. Just come on over. Become my guy, right? That's what he was doing. So I actually quite like Triple H. So then Triple H thanks Roman for reminding him why he didn't pick him initially, and then sends out Big Show for the match.
That's it. So, hey, don't forget, this is the Big Show. Look how big his fist is. Yeah, Big Show's my bitch.
That's right. Man, I don't know if I ever thought I'd say this, but the dynamic of the Authority is going to get interesting for a little while they search for the new star to front them. And I think it's literally only going to be a choice between Reigns and Ambrose. I think either one of them is going to turn heel and be the guy. Reigns still has a chance of doing it. He may eventually decide in the match, in the main event, that I do need to cater for my family, and I need to take these opportunities. They don't come around all the time. I'm not going to spend another 6 months on the sidelines trying to earn my way. And or maybe someone gets in his ear and tells him, if the final is Ambrose and Reigns, well, Ambrose has already taken up their offer, so you need to get in there before he screws you. And they manage to turn his ear. There's a number of different ways they could turn him, and Ambrose as well, right? So I think it's going to be one of them two. That's how I see it going down. So.
That's it. It's unfortunate because everyone's just sort of like, oh, what a shock. Look at this tournament. Oh, it's Ambrose and Roman just on opposite sides of that. Oh.
Yeah. Someone's going to turn heel. There has to be. There's no other way you can do it. They're not just going to go they could go and throw a curveball our way, but I certainly do believe it's going to be Ambrose and Reigns in the final.
Cesaro for champion.
So you think Cesaro's going to beat Reigns, do you, in the next round? Don't think so, my friends. Although I would like to see that happen, but
yeah. So
Reigns and Big Show wasn't feeling this match. It was the revolutionary new product that decreased my interest in this match. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I've seen this match tons before. It wasn't that.
Oddly enough, last time we were in the UK.
Yeah, we saw that same exact thing. So there you are. Reigns survives the choke slam, then he hits the spear, pins the Big Show, moves on to the quarterfinals. It wasn't a horrible match, I just wasn't that interested in it. Michael Cole shows Wayne Rooney at ringside, who is promptly booed for his attendance. Good. Fuck you, Wayne Rooney. Yeah, I said it. Oh yeah, are you angry? Yeah, I said it. Yeah.
I could give a shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah? Put Vincent Kompany there and you'd be cheered like a returning Jesus Christ. Oh, Vincent Kompany. He is the man. You want to talk about a man's man? Vinny Kompany. He's the man. Oh, yes.
You're letting your bias sneak in there.
It's just my journalistic opinion, Matt. I am cutting edge, just like Renee Young when Paige is around. Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, fair enough.
But that's not going to be the last reference to Wayne Rooney on this show, by the way. So I do apologise to United.
I was going to say, there's quite a few on here.
Yeah, there is. Kevin Owens versus Titus O'Neil. Like I said, the world title challenger, Titus O'Neil. Owens urges everyone to buy his entrance theme on iTunes so he'll get more money. Which is quite a shame because in actual realisation, he would get a pitiful stake in that purchase. So
Yeah.
you probably get about 5 cents of the 99 cents you bought that. So there you go.
If that.
If that, yeah. Owens says English fans are probably the dumbest fans in the world because we worship the Queen. Here's a fun fact for Kevin Owens. Most English people couldn't give a flying fuck about the royal family. Yeah?
Yeah.
To be honest, they have absolutely zero political stake in the country anymore. They are a cultural attraction. Nothing more, nothing less. I don't care about the royal family. Matt, do you care about the royal family? You just love all the babies that come out. You love
I wouldn't say care, but
it certainly didn't annoy you.
No.
No. Yeah.
I completely understand his point, though.
Yeah, I just think it's funny that maybe the natural perception is that we all worship the Queen, when really we don't really care. Like,
Yeah. It's like you all worship a queen. It's like, aren't you Canadian? A part of the Commonwealth?
Remember
Run
your
by the
place,
Queen.
scum. So I have to wonder, by the way, as I said before, who Titus had to blow backstage to get into this world title tournament. But as I said, the roster is probably very thin on contenders. I had tuned out of this match. Owens gets a pop-up powerbomb for the victory and he moves on. He's going to try and become the double champion. Paige is backstage with Renee Young. Paige brings up Renee's sudden cutting-edge journalism that she had from the last time they spoke. Paige then says Becky Lynch is a rat and she'll take her out tonight. She was missing the chance of calling her a snake and making an Irish reference. I honestly thought that's where they were going, but still, who knows? So they're having that match, Becky Lynch and Paige. That would happen later on. Paige, by the way, has mastered the art of the push-up bra. I'm sure a lot of people are very happy about that. They show footage of Undertaker versus Psycho Sid at WrestleMania 13. A main event that was overshadowed, without doubt, by the greatest WrestleMania match of all time, in my opinion, of course. Stone Cold versus Bret Hart. So
The thing is, the one thing I like is, like, let's show you a match against Psycho Sid, which was probably rated as one of the worst Undertaker matches at WrestleMania.
Not only that, it's rated as one of the worst WrestleMania matches. Like that's
Just full stop, yeah.
I mean, that was the main event of that show. That is one of the worst main events in WrestleMania history, without question. So, Becky Lynch then versus Paige. It's funny that WWE tried to play the heel and face role here, but with Paige being the home country girl and Becky being Irish, it kind of didn't really work out that way. Considering my current situation, I do have to be extremely careful about talking about this sort of dynamic, considering where I live. That is something that's quite awkward to say.
As an Englishman in Ireland, you need to walk that line very carefully.
Exactly. Decent enough match, I thought, this one. Paige pulls the tights after a roll-up, but Becky doesn't care if her arse is shown to the public, so she rolls out and does the same to Paige, and she wins the match. Paige then flips out. She snaps and puts Becky and the PTO on the table. I would thought it would have been quite cool for her to rampage her through the table, but that would have been... I mean, come on, that would have sold Becky being out for, like, the weeks leading into this Charlotte match. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I hate is it's sort of like, oh my god, the PTO on the tables. Like it being on the table made much of a difference.
Yeah, she could have done it in the ring and it would have been exactly the same. Like, yeah, it's just a bit funny. But a rampage, that would have got people off their seats. That would have been pretty mental, but... And it's a relatively safe move.
The worst part is, the rampage, yeah, it's a relatively safe move, but I think it's probably because Paige would have taken all of that.
Yeah, so probably she wouldn't been too happy with that. Charlotte comes down for the save, but I think this is writing off Becky Lynch until they have their match, so that's where they're going with it. At least that's how they were. That's how it was perceived to me, anyway.
That's it.
Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. JBL lists Wayne Rooney, Ryan Giggs, and Darren Fletcher in the same sentence. Now, clearly, I'm no United fan, but this time I'll do this for you guys. That was sacrilege. Ryan Giggs.
Well, no, the fact that
Wayne
they
Rooney,
all wear
Darren
the Infinity
Fletcher.
scarf as well.
Yeah, I mean that. Well, Darren Fletcher's a good player, but he's not exactly a United legend by any means, is he? Like, certainly no Ryan Giggs. I thought that was quite funny. I'll do it in city terms. Like, you got Mike Summerby, Sean Gota, Vincent Company, and then you put Stefan Savage there, which is basically one of the worst defenders we've ever had. So it doesn't really work. Let me do it in wrestling terms for you. It's like doing The Rock, Stone Cold, and Buff Bagwell. Doesn't really work. Okay, so that's kind of how we're going there. I like this match, incidentally. It was alright. It was some quick action, crisp wrestling. Ziggler steals the win at the death to advance. It was a quick but good match. They made the most of their time. I'll give them props at very least for that. Zeb Coulter comes out. He doesn't like England very much, Matt. He says that he would invite the English to join Mex America, but if we weren't so despised by the rest of the world. He says Germany already tell us what to do, and Scotland wants nothing to do with us, and that Vladimir Putin will eventually be telling us what to do.
It's like, that son of a bitch.
Exactly. He also says that it wasn't that long ago that British women weren't shaving or using deodorant. He clearly hasn't visited Hull recently. Otherwise, you'd still be realising that most women around that area still do. I'm firing a lot of shots in this episode, and they're all in joke and jest, so don't get too upset, by the way. I'm going heel, shall we say. Turbo is going heel on LTW. It's my heel turn.
Is this your hashtag heel?
It is, yeah, I am heel turn. Right, that's it. I actually thought Del Rio was coming out to wrestle, but apparently not. It's just them blasting England.
Yeah, it's like, we can't have a backstage segment, so we'll just take the Tron.
That's it. Natalya versus Naomi.
Oh, this match. I forgot about this match.
Oh, yes, this match. I sank my head into my hands when Natalya, although I know she was trying to do it sarcastically, started doing the "We Want Sasha" chants. It just reminded me of that time that she was on commentary, and I despised everything that she said along the lines of, I hope every girl in the division gets to the success that they want. You know, they all deserve to be world champion. I'm like, this is like...
future... Like, all power to everyone.
I'm like,
everyone's my friend, and I wish them all the best.
Like,
you mean you don't want the belt?
Yeah.
Everyone needs their chance. Like, really?
Yeah, I honestly, I was like, this is part of the reason why this division sucks. And I know it's ages ago that was done, but it just reminded me a little bit of it. Natalya gets the win with the most devastating finishing move in wrestling history. We all know what that is. The schoolboy roll-up pin. It is devastating. It wins matches.
Not the roll-up pin.
She pulled out all the stops to Natalya for this win. She went all the way. The match sucked, though, I thought. I thought it was, it was very quick. It was sloppy at times, and there were some moves that lacked impact, which unfortunately are three of the problems in women's matches in general on the show.
Something I find quite funny is there was actually a sign in the crowd which was like Naomi for champ, and it's like, well, if she's having these matches...
No, yeah, she clearly isn't going to be champion, yeah. Natalya locks Sasha in the sharpshooter when she comes in, but then Tamina gives her a good old kick in the gob, so she's all knocked out. And the fans cheer in unison as Natalya gets locked in the bank statement. Michael Cole and Brian Saxton are literally the only ones in the entire building who didn't like it, so... Still, they're trying to be like, oh, this is disgusting, as all the fans are like, yeah, Sasha Banks, so...
Like... Oh, this is terrible. Why should anyone cheer this? We fucking love this. This is terrible action. Sasha Banks is doing something.
Yeah.
Terrible. Nasty.
Yeah, awful.
The heel. Don't forget, heel, bad heel.
Yeah.
Fucking Sasha Banks. It's like, you're not going to win here.
Yeah. It's just not going to happen. It's just not the case. It's just not going to happen. Sheamus versus Cesaro. Now, they show what happened during the commercial where Wade Barrett called out Wayne Rooney. He said that he would hate to see Rooney's son watch him fail like he does every time he steps onto a football pitch. JBL obviously can't... yeah, that was actually quite a good bird. Fair enough. But then JBL then rattles off a bunch of extremely vague stats that will clearly no doubt impress fans that don't know better. I'm going to educate everyone. He says that Wayne Rooney is the most prolific scorer in English football history.
False.
Well, it depends. No, actually, it is false. In English international history, he is the most prolific man. Actually, no, not even that's right. His games per goal ratio probably isn't better than some, like Peter Crouch probably has a better goals per game ratio. He has, basically, guys, to give you the stats, he has scored the most goals than any England international in international matches, okay? He's not the most prolific goal scorer in English history. The most prolific goal scorer in English history is Alan Shearer. He has the current and still lasting record for goals scored in the Premier League. So he is the most prolific guy. I'm sure our friend Ben is ecstatic to hear me correcting everyone about this because he's a massive Newcastle fan.
Yeah, so it's like proving that a Newcastle player is the greatest.
That's it. So Rooney is the most prolific England international. And by the way, guys, his actual tournament exploits leave a lot to be desired. For our American fans, it's literally like having Kobe Bryant all season long, getting tons and tons of victories, he's just dunking it. He's getting tons of his field goal percentage is amazing. He's doing great. He's breaking all sorts of records. But when it comes to playoff season, you get JaVale McGee instead. That's basically what Wayne Rooney is. When he gets to a tournament, the guy just fucking disappears. He doesn't know what to do. So, in qualifying, Wayne Rooney is a world beater. He can score goals against Estonia, but fucking hell, you put him up against Italy, and he can't really do that much. So, there you go. That's kind of what Wayne Rooney is. For an explanation to our fans. And by the way, I am biased. Wayne Rooney is a Manchester United player. I am a Manchester City fan. I technically am not I hate the guy since he scored a very good goal against us. I think like 2 years ago or whatever. You can go YouTube it and you can understand why I hate it, but obviously United fans will love that goal, and rightly so. It was a beautiful goal. I will give him that. So during the match, Sheamus gets in Rooney's face. Then Barrett decides that I'm going to get in his face instead because Sheamus obviously needs to wrestle the rest of the match. Got a little bit sidetracked, did he there, Sheamus? And then he gets in Rooney's face, and then the king himself gets his mug slapped by Rooney. Rooney gives him a good old slap. And then Barrett takes a dive that Ashley Young would have been completely 100% proud of. You know, we all know Ashley Young likes a good old dive, especially in the box.
It's one thing I love. It's like the worst. It was almost like that sort of just like,
Yeah, he kind of took like a double tumble. He kind of oversold it, didn't he, Barrett, a little bit. I will say, though, Rooney, at least his hands can move.
Rooney was Hogan and Barrett was Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, that's essentially
And it was a SummerSlam match.
It really was, to be honest. Barrett sold the shit out of that slap, shall we say. But I will give Rooney props. It was a decent enough slap. His hands can move fast, which is good because his legs are fucking shot, but still... Sorry, guys, man, United fans are going to be fucking hating me. We're gonna have so much hate on this episode. You can fire it back at me. This isn't my first rodeo in terms of United and City fans having a back and forth. This leads to the distraction, however, that gives Cesaro the victory, and I will say fair play to Rooney because his kids must have looked at him like a fucking superhero after doing that. So he probably went home and his kids thinking of him, oh man, my dad slapped Wade Barrett and awesome and all that lot. And I tell you what, this is good by WWE because it did all the media rounds. This was everywhere. It was on BBC, it was on Sports, it was everywhere. Everyone was talking about Wayne Rooney slapping Wade Barrett on Raw. So fair play. Dean Ambrose. By the way, did you have any thoughts on Rooney at all?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
He had a hair transplant, by the way, as well.
I know that.
And he slept with a prostitute, a very old
I know that. I was going to say, when you were saying, like, and he went home, and I was like, what, to a 60-year-old? A 60-year-old choice of the night?
Yeah. Well, he hasn't done it in a while.
I chose not to, in case it went over the head of people.
Rooney's got a very colourful history for our American fans. You can just go wiki and just find out. Just go to the personal life page and you can see all the wonderful exploits he's done. Not nearly as bad as Ashley Cole, though. That's another one. Oh, jeez. Oh, what about John Terry? Oh, John Terry and Wayne Britt. Oh, God, guys.
Who's the old legend who's gone, like, proper batshit insane?
Oh, Gascoigne.
Yeah.
Paul Gascoigne. So there's that as well, so... There's a lot of them. Rooney isn't the worst.
Eric Cantona drop kicking a member of the crowd.
Karate kicking. He literally drop kicked a fan, Eric Cantona. So yeah, there's some bonkers, wrestlers in football. No, footballers around. So you can, if you thought that soccer was just this very much this mild sport. Over here, we have some characters that would make you would make the likes of A-Rod and the likes of that probably look a little bit less like a bastard. So yeah, there's that. So Dean Ambrose versus Tyler Breeze is next. Before the match, Tyler tells Renee Young that the world is an ugly place and uses her as an example. Do you think that...
You lying bastard.
I think Renee Young's probably one of the better looking on the roster, and that means the wrestling women, as I was about to call them. That's such a bad way to do it, you know what I mean? The women's division, right? He says that he'll become the new face of the WWE, and Ambrose looks like he's homeless. Yes. Maybe he comes out with like a long poncho next week.
It's like the worst part. Like, comes up with a newspaper.
Yeah, exactly. And a dog, right? Just a random street dog. Yeah, that's it.
What's the fact that they were just like in even Summer Rae? It's like, oh my god, like, have you seen his jeans? And they're like so disgusting. It's like, really? Really?
I know.
Like to quote the Miz. Really?
Really?
Like, oh, this is bullshit.
I get it. I mean, Tyler Breeze is still trying to educate everyone what sort of character he is, because WWE did not give him anything to do that. They didn't give him a vignette, anything. I mean, I ranted about that last week, so...
Yeah. I mean, do you know what, actually, leading on, because, like, what happens in the match is, like, what really annoys me is they were just like, yeah. Like, you've got, like, what's his fucking Saxton? Just sort of just like, yeah, and he was like one of the biggest names in NXT right now. It's like, dude, sound fucking happy about that. Sell this guy. Just let's for the moment pretend I've never watched an episode of NXT. I don't subscribe to the network. Who is this puff in the flared trousers? Yeah, he was on NXT and he was like really good. I like JBL sold him stronger, like towards the end of the match.
I fully like one of the things that I found is that like it's almost like Tyler himself and the commentary team are trying to catch up on themselves when a well-placed vignette would have done it all for them. Do you get
completely agree?
Yeah, it's so. Like I said, I actually got a little bit more heated about it last week than I thought I would. So there is that. But,
I think that's true. Yeah.
I mean, like, I actually went back and looked because I was comparing it to likes of like Carlito and I think I named someone else, but I had tons of vignettes coming in, and it's like you look back on them and all these vignettes are like some of them are like a minute long, you know, and it's like there's about 8 of them, 8 different ones.
I mean, hell, if you're not going to like write any new vignettes for him, just play some of the backstage interviews from the Fatal 4-Way match at TakeOver. That's all you'd need. It's all I'd want. But no, it's like, yay. He's like a really big guy in like NXT right now. And you got like JBL, it's like, he wrestled Jushin Thunder Liger. It's like, surely, Saxton, that's your thing to remind us of.
Yeah.
You know, as the NXT announcer.
I just think it's absolutely so shocking that they haven't, like, it's not as even if they had to get Tyler and record a bunch of new footage with him. All they have to do is show his entrances that he's had, because he's had some very good entrances.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the people he's fought, some of the victories he's had, and him being a badass.
Well, I don't know, because most of the time his big entrances don't necessarily occur on the same night of his big victories.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, the way they cut it, they could make it seem as if, like, he never lost, right? You know, the video production company, we know, are fucking excellent in WWE. So why not just give them a task? Okay, this week you need to make a Tyler Breeze vignette. It doesn't need to be long, maybe a minute. Just show his best moments.
He needs to look shit hot.
Yeah, just do it. And they didn't. So I think they're trying to catch up on themselves here, and it's kind of sad to see. Because, you know, one of the things I will say is that, you know, when I saw Breeze's first, like, official in-ring debut where he makes his full entrance, I'm sure this gimmick can work if WWE just give him a little bit of love, just a little bit, and he'll do the rest.
Yeah.
He'll do the rest. It works. Now, this is a longer match here than I expected, and I thought it was a much more even match than I expected, funnily enough. Considering Ambrose is quite an established guy, dare I say it, it almost looked like Ambrose had stolen it at the end with Breeze dominating the match. He got much more offense in. Then Ambrose had to resort to just doing a quick cradle on Breeze to win the match, and Breeze looked like he'd been stolen. I thought it was a good match. I thought the ending was a bit anticlimactic, but I actually thought that this gave Breeze... The match actually is the best thing about Breeze being in WWE so far.
It was it was a solid showing of Breeze.
Definitely.
But I think... I don't know. I'm not happy with their current work with him.
Yeah, I can fully agree. It could have just been easily solved if they had just done one vignette. Just taking a little bit of care. They've got 3 hours.
It's not even the vignette. It's like, hey, we're building up to him having a match with Ziggler as a feud. Nah, fuck it. We'll put him against Ambrose.
Yeah. One thing I will say, though, is that with him losing the match, it's, like I said, it looked like Ambrose had stolen it from him. So Breeze still looks strong even though he lost. This is one of those occasions where...
That's the one thing I noticed, actually, when I was just all like, but he didn't lose. It was like a cheap loss.
Yeah.
So it's like, the one thing, that was the thing I thought was quite damaging. I was like, it's his debut. And he didn't even... Not even the fact that he lost clean, he got screwed.
Yeah, but I mean, it's against Ambrose. Ambrose is quite an established guy, so to have him compete on such a level, and like I said, it looked like he should have had the match done. I don't mind him losing the match personally. I think it was well done in that sense. Like Ambrose had to get away. Literally, the time was running out before Breeze had him dead to rights. So I thought actually it was quite well. I thought they booked this quite well personally, but still, I can understand why some people would be upset, and it doesn't make it, like I said, Neville, when he first came up, remember, he was having some similar sort of stuff like this, where he was losing matches but looked like he was the better guy in it. But then you look at him now, and Neville's basically doing nothing. That is still on the cards for Breeze. He can become just as irrelevant as
Don't
Neville's.
remind me.
I know. I know it sucks, but it's on the cards. It could go either way, but it's much more likely it will go the way of Neville, and it sucks that way, but still. They show footage of the glorious Manchester City Stadium.
I thought you'd like that. And they were like, it's like United's not just the only team in town. You got JBL exploding because his English knowledge is just overflowing. It's like, I know everything about everything. England. That's all of a sudden it's just like, pie mash, Compton, Rosie Lee, bang! And then suddenly the back of like JBL's head blows out.
Yeah, just because of like all the knowledge that he thinks.
All of the references that he only has like all of about 5 minutes during a Barrett match.
Yeah.
To get out. He's just like,
He just has like a fucking huge brain aneurysm that blows out his skull. Yeah. But it's the glorious Etihad Stadium. I have been there. I've been to Etihad. I haven't been there in a long while, I will say. I think the last time I went there maybe was 2012, I think. So way before this podcast started.
The wife got you tickets.
Yeah, to go see Chelsea. We beat Chelsea 2-0. I mean, Carlos Tevez was still playing for us now. I mean, he's been gone for a while. So, and yes, I'm sure United fans will remind me that was the season that Fergie beat us and with all those points. And sure. But we're the ones leading the league now, guys. So that's all that matters right there. Exactly. Filled with phenomenal players and the will to win. You know the legend, Matt.
As long as the Blues aren't knocking around, then it's fine.
Chelsea certainly ain't going to beat us this year, so there's that. Now, the legend tells, Matt, of an awesome podcast hoster that is a Manchester City fan that records on Saturday nights and goes by the name of Tony. Now, I'm not going to say anything, but he's also incredibly good-looking and awesome.
Oh, okay.
All right, so...
No grandeur.
Yeah, exactly. What did you say? Delusions of grandeur again? No, okay.
I didn't say the delusions. I went, no grandeur.
New Day versus Neville and the Usos. New Day are bemused that every member was left out of the World Title Tournament. They remind us with visual prompts how they laid out Dolph Ziggler, the Dudley Boys, and John Cena, and they use their unicorn powers for their captain Seth Rollins. And obviously, they tell us that. We're not allowed to do it with them because our magic isn't nearly as good. Then Matt, Kofi goes to a level of ultra heel. A heel level that we've never seen before. A level that threatens to destroy the fabric of space and time. And how does he do this? He says the words, Harry Potter sucks. How dare you? How dare you? You can insult our queen.
You sir, I bid you good day.
Yeah. You could insult our queen. You could definitely insult Wayne Rooney. In fact, I'll kind of join you in doing that. You can insult our culture, but you do not insult Harry Potter. You do not.
You do not insult a 10-year-old boy with a scar.
Yes, and glasses that looks,
like young John Lennon.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, it's exactly what Matt said. Right. My daughter dressed up like Hermione for Halloween this year. That's how strongly I feel about it. Yes. You were the chosen one, Kofi. The chosen one. And you've let us all down.
I still find it funny that I've gone back to watch WrestleMania 25 and then suddenly it's just like, from Jamaica. It's like, Jamaica, you're not Jamaican.
I can't, man. I like to think that Kofi's stint in New Day is just his debut, and like all the years beforehand was just like it wasn't really him. It was just some random other guy. That's the way I'm looking to think of it at the moment. So.
What sort of like he's now genuinely the Ghana West Africa Kofi. The other guy was genuinely a Jamaican Kofi, and they were not the same person.
Yeah, that's how I looked at it.
But they were never seen in the same room.
Exactly right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other guy just retired, and no one cared because he was boring as shit. And this Kofi came along, had his debut, and he's brilliant. He's awesome. He's fun. And evil for saying that stuff about Harry Potter. God damn you. You were the chosen one, Kofi. I just started to believe in you. No. But he insulted... I can't continue. You're going to have to carry on the rest of the podcast.
The fact that he insulted the Potter.
Yeah.
Okay. The one thing I was quite shocked is this was the main event.
Yeah, it was actually, yeah.
And the fact we haven't even mentioned who it was against. We were just suddenly just like, fucking Kofi.
Yeah. I don't want to review the rest of the show. God damn it. I was too hurt, shall we say?
That's it.
People may think I'm actually joking. I am mostly.
The wound's so tender.
Yeah, but Harry Potter holds something dear to my soul, so there is that. Yeah, they're against Neville and the Usos, for if anyone cares. And Neville and the Usos had a chance to make themselves into super faces by finally shutting up Kofi in his Harry Potter damaging ways, but they couldn't get the job done, so they're dead to me. They are dead. Yes.
The Usos are dead to you?
Yes.
I find that hard to believe.
I'm going to be like JBL when he kept, like, getting really annoyed at people for not beating Rusev and, like, slamming them and then forgetting about that he did it and then getting back on their bandwagon again. So I'm going to do that. Okay?
Okay.
There we are.
If that's journalism to you, then crack on.
Obviously, we're clearly looking at an Usos title challenge. We had Neville get pinned here by underhanded, trombone-inspired tactics by the New Day. Not the first time we've seen that. But yeah, I think they obviously are building to an Usos title challenge, and the Usos have got a pretty good chance of getting those belts back. 3-time champs, would they be then? I think they're 2-time now, aren't they?
Yeah, if they win back, they would be.
That would be. So this leads to Bray Wyatt coming on down to the ring. He wants to celebrate the spirits of Kane and the Undertaker. He calls us all fools for paying respect to Harry Potter. Sorry, Brothers of Destruction. I can get through the rest of the podcast, Matt. I think I can. Do
you think you're good?
I think I'll be okay.
I'd like to think you're good.
Yeah. He says that our only solace is that we can look to the sky and it will be all over soon. Yeah, again, it's a good promo from Bray, but he's always done good promos. It's the nature of how he's been booked that has neutered his words. So that's just in general. A video package airs of Taker and Kane, the 80s thunder that looks like it came straight out of like the Evil Dead, shall we say. I love the new series, Ash vs. Evil Dead, brilliant.
I can't even remember. Was this the video package where they had... I remember there was one where they had the Undertaker's entrance music, but on like the piano. No, I remember that really haunting one that they've had before.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't remember that particular moment of it. But
yet again, WrestleMania 25, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels. Yeah.
That's your chosen greatest WrestleMania match. So
that's it. I was just sort of like, I kind of fancy watching a Mania match. Yes. I shall watch this WrestleMania and just bask in its 5-star goodness.
Yeah. Ooh, yes, good. That by the way, the rest of that WrestleMania fucking sucked. Those guys saved that show.
Money in the Bank was good.
For WrestleMania though, 25 was pretty shit. To be fair,
Money in the Bank's always good.
Yeah. I was actually genuinely, I mean, if you remember, I think we watched that one together, and it was like along the lines of, no, was it? No. I'm trying to think of in terms of.
It was 2007.
I don't know, but I remember it being along the lines of that. Maybe I was watching it and thinking to myself, like, this WrestleMania sucks. They need a match to save it, and then suddenly that happened. So yeah, they kind of saved that.
I was like, they need a match to save it. It was already saved.
Yeah, as soon as they came out, it was saved. So the video package airs, and then the gong sounds. Taker and Kane walk on out. And I actually got goosebumps here, Matt, which is always a good sign. It means WWE are doing something right. There is that. Got goosebumps as they came down. I got excited. Bray's eyes have the story of what Seth Rollins used to do, where he has the look of, oh shit, oh fuck, what the fuck did I just do?
I gone done fucked up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That is until the rest of the Wyatts appear using his own Wyatt magic. Strowman lays out Taker and Kane, but they both sit up and then chuck his ass over the ropes and over the announce table. Wyatt then eats a double choke slam, and for the first time in many, many years, the show ends with the Brothers of Destruction standing together and very, very tall at the end of the show.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really cool way to end the show. Sets up the Survivor Series match, which apparently isn't going to be a Survivor Series match, but we'll get to that when it's more official.
Well, that's it. It was just sort of like, I'm still just thinking, it's like, so what's the match? I don't get it.
Yeah, apparently it's just going to be a 2-on-4, which I don't like, but there we are.
No, it's meant to be 2-on-2.
Oh, really? Are they going to do Strowman and Wyatt? Okay.
Well, no, they haven't announced which Wyatts. It's just going to be...
It's going to be Strowman and Wyatt. It has to
I'd
be.
imagine so.
That's the only way.
So, but they were like, oh, it's going to be like the Brothers of Destruction versus 2 members.
They'll probably have all 4 of them involved anyway. It was going to be most likely like a 2-on-4 handicap match. So,
yeah.
Still. I do expect it going to be a fun match, though. I mean, just seeing Kane and Taker together stirred up some old memories in me. And like I said, I got goosebumps watching. I was like, wow, that's cool. It actually got me. So that was a really cool way to end the show. Were you the same? Were you like, oh yeah, this is pretty
I loved
cool?
it. Like every possible opportunity, I can't look away from the screen.
Yeah.
I don't care if I'm cooking dinner right now. I can't look away from the dong. Oh.
It's good shit. It's good shit right there. It's good fun.
Exactly. Perfect.
Now, all in all, I thought this was an okay show. I thought it was worth a watch. You got some good wrestling. The ending, like I said, was enthralling. I thought there was a very good moment at the start of the show with Triple H draping that title over Roman and getting in his ear. I liked that. I did like it.
I mean, we even got a "This is awesome" chant out of it.
Yeah, I thought it was very good. And
however, you could tell there was one point on this show where you were like, "Oh, we're so in England."
What do you mean?
Ooh,
yeah.
Ooh,
It's
like,
that was
the
funny.
English crowd.
I tell you what, though, Matt, it feels good to be able to point out the positives in these last few shows. I mean, I think WWE have given us at very least something to talk about in a positive manner in the last 3-4 weeks, shall we say?
It's got to be, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas, you know, the months that have preceded it had been downright awful. So they are picking their game up a little bit. I did say it would do because we're heading into, well, we've still got a few months away, but we're heading into their plans for WrestleMania. So we're in that 6-month buffer gap now. They're going to be starting putting their finger out, and hopefully they'll give us something. You know, overall the show will get better. And I do think it is a little bit. We're getting matches that mean something. We're having this tournament, so every match in this tournament meant something. It had repercussions.
Rather than just sort of all of a sudden it's like, oh, you attacked the champion. Well, I guess you're number 1 contender now. It's like,
right. You know,
how?
We were making jokes about
so.
Matt taking a shit in Seth Rollins' bag to get a title shot, but it almost looked like that was the case, right? Now they're having people earn these shots, and not only that, I mean, they had a number 1 contenders match for the women's championship last week. They're starting to get into it a little bit. They're starting to understand that having these. I mean, if you actually go back and watch the Austin podcast with Vince, one of the things that Vince said there, which I thought was so funny, is that he said, you know, no one's going to care if you throw a match out for the case of just throwing it out. Yet that was what he was doing for months. And now it's a little bit different, at very least. For the last few weeks, they seem to have got their shit in order a little bit. So there is that. Is there anything else you want to talk about? We're wrapping up now. So
yeah, I've got nothing else to say.
It's been a fun show. Episode 101. Feels weird to be saying that. If you guys want to follow us on Twitter, the Twitter handle is
@TalkWrestlePod.
It is indeed. You do that flawlessly every single week. You can also now, like I said, like our Facebook page, which we are posting on almost every day, and that is facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. And you can send an email to gmail gmail.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. No, sorry. Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast at gmail.com. There's too many plugs here,
Yeah.
Matt. I've added one onto it now. It's thrown me all off. 1 week in, I just don't know what to do. Don't know what to do anymore. Apart from that, if you're obviously new to the podcast, you can subscribe to almost 500. Our goal was to get 400 at the end of this year. We've already just destroyed that. Hopefully, we can get 500 before the end of this year. And my task of getting 1,000 at the end of next year may not seem so daunting, shall we say. So there is that. You can also leave any questions that you like in the comment section below, all those social media methods that we listed earlier on. Apart from that, we hope you guys have a great week. And we hope you enjoyed the show.
That's it.
Do you want to give them any verbal loving, Matt, before we leave them?
Any verbal loving? Ooh.
You sexual verbal chocolate you are.
Survivor Series isn't too far.
Mm.
Of course, we're all looking forward to it.
Yeah,
We'll enjoy.
There's at the very least one match I'm interested in. Well, a couple of matches. The world title match will be interesting regardless. So
Yeah. Tag match.
You know what, guys? I'm getting a little bit excited, and that's not a bad thing. You know, it's all right.
Considering last week we were like, shit, what is WWE going to do? And now all of a sudden they're like, this is what we're doing. I don't hate this.
No. You know what? It's shaking. Inadvertently, Rollins' injury has shaken up the show a little bit. So there, at the very least,
Definitely.
there's something to be made of that. So, all right, guys. We'll catch you next week. Have a great week.
We'll catch you soon.
Bye bye.
Bye.